Sometimes you encounter a glitch in a video game that makes you think, well, looks like I'm not getting any sleep tonight. Fortunately, there's Manta Sleep for when you're feeling restless. As someone who frequently experiences restless nights, their masks have been great at helping me get better sleep. The adjustable eye cups block out all light, and the sound sleep mask I'm wearing even has speakers you can adjust around your ears. Honestly, I found just blocking the light made listening to music on this a very immersive experience as I fell asleep. Definitely helped me get a much needed nap after spending all night investigating video game mysteries. The whole thing is super comfortable, designed so you can wear them in any sleep position with plenty of breathability. You can move the eye cups or adjust the straps so you don't put any pressure on your eyes. Manta Sleep also offers a variety of different mask models to fit all kinds of sleep needs, like the weighted sleep mask, the steam mask, or the cool mask. And if you want to try any of them out, you can use my link down below and the code Oddheader to get 10% off your order. Now let's look at some mysterious glitches. Red Dead Redemption 2. Thanks to Joe Stuff for submitting this through Oddheader.com. Red Dead Redemption 2 has been on everyone's minds lately because of a possible connection to Grand Theft Auto 5's Mount Chiliad mystery players recently discovered, as these mysterious spiderwebs were found around the map for the first time in years, which I recently covered in this video. And for those wondering where we're currently at with the mystery, we still haven't solved anything, and there's been no progress since the discoveries covered in that video. Be sure to check it out if you want to help us solve it. However, today we'll be looking at yet another discovery in Red Dead I can't even begin to explain. Joe Stuff was messing around, randomly shooting at this lantern at a camp when they heard an explosion. Turning around, they saw a ring of fire appear, something strange flickering and glowing on the ground. Joe approached the explosion and saw the outline of something glowing around this object on the ground, until the glowing disappeared and hasn't reappeared since. Unfortunately, that's pretty much all we can go off with the footage. No idea how shooting this random lantern caused an explosion and this garbled mess to glow like something Arthur would see if he was at Burning Man. Nor do I know what the hell's been up with this game lately and all the unsolved mysteries that have been popping up. Hopefully we can get some sort of answer to something before GTA 6, but at this point, it's starting to look more and more like the more realistic goal is before GTA 7. Silent Hill 2. Thanks to Pink for submitting this discovery through Oddheader.com. While the 2024 remake of the classic survival horror game stayed fairly true to the original, it certainly modernized the game as well. It added lots of things such as new voice acting, updated and more puzzles, larger environments, extra scenes, and new endings. However, remnants of things that were changed from the original game can still be seen throughout the game, such as pieces of removed puzzles and scenes, or Maria finding her original Christina Aguilera outfit in a closet. Some fans interpreted these nods to the original game as subtle hints that the remake is actually taking place after or even alongside the original, possibly suggesting Silent Hill is a time loop that James can never escape, and a strange glitch Pink encountered while playing the remake could point fan theories even further in this direction, as Pink was in the Toluca prison area of the game when they saw what they initially thought was a Shadow Man. However, getting closer, they saw it was actually a clone of James. The clone didn't do anything at first, but stood in the corner looking at the wall. James, this is Silent Hill, not the Blair Witch Project. Once Pink got next to the clone, it eventually began to mirror the original James' actions. Unfortunately, before Pink could figure out anything more about this strange James clone, the game crashed, and it wasn't there when they started the game again. Seems like that time loop theory could be true after all, considering it looks like a James from a different time loop popped in here to creep on the James in this timeline that for some reason only happened in Pink's playthrough. Wait, what? This is getting too confusing. Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Thanks to NorwayDuck for submitting this mystery through Oddheader.com. NorwayDuck was playing the Spider-Man 2 mission Graffiti Trouble, where you investigate some graffiti across the neighborhood as the character Haley, a deaf street artist and Miles' girlfriend. While Haley can run around the neighborhood and paint, she can't jump during the mission, which made NorwayDuck want to see if Haley had any in-air poses in the game's photo mode. Turns out Haley can do a lot more than jump, as when NorwayDuck walked off a bush and went into photo mode mid-air, she ended up in an A pose with a slider instead of the normal character pose selector. NorwayDuck adjusted the slider up, which made it seem as if parts of the Haley model were shifting sideways. As NorwayDuck inspected the Haley model further, it continued to morph, as if being pulled by some invisible force, and continued to pull without NorwayDuck doing anything. NorwayDuck sat idle watching Haley be stretched, turning into an unnerving, tangled blob of silly putty stretching around the environment. Haley eventually stretched far enough to reach this nearby deck. Well, parts of her anyway. Haley stretched all the way to this flower pot, then pulled around to the other side of the deck into a neighboring construction site. Well, this is horrifying. After more than 2 hours of NorwayDuck sitting idle watching Haley go sideways, she eventually hit a standstill and finally stopped stretching, though it's unclear what caused her to stretch so far. Why Haley became a horrific glob slithering around the environment like a fleshy Etch-a-Sketch, and what unseen thing her body is trying to slither away to, is still a mystery. Or is this a hidden Marvel Easter egg foreshadowing Haley's secret identity, potentially Stretch Armstrong, will be revealed in a later title. First Encounters. Thanks to Nick for submitting this discovery on Oddheader.com. First Encounters is a game that comes with every MetaQuest 3, where you scan your room so a spaceship lands in your physical space, and challenges you to collect as many of these puffball aliens as possible before time's up, making this the first augmented reality game that I've covered on the channel. However, Mocha on Reddit made a rather odd first encounter in the game that they never expected, as Mocha on Reddit was playing First Encounters during the first part of the game where you scan the room for aliens, when they saw what looked like a mysterious silhouette of a person standing in the middle of the room during the room scan. Doesn't look like any cute furball alien to me. This made it appear as if the room scan picked up something that Mocha couldn't see, and Mocha said there was no one else in the room with them when they did the scan. Additionally, the figure appeared to be significantly taller than themselves, so it's not clear what the hell this is or how it appeared, though it certainly looks like something humanoid was standing in their room. It's still not clear why this happened, but I guess we can say First Encounters comes with the added benefit of finding out whether there's someone watching you when it thinks you're not looking. Yeah, probably not going to touch my MetaQuest 3 for a while. Super Mario World. Thanks to Galiksi and Ember the Flareon for submitting this mystery through the Oddheader Discord. Super Mario is... You know who Mario is, come on. Being an all-time gaming classic, you never expect anyone to find anything new in Super Mario World since it was released 35 years ago. However, that appears to be exactly what happened to Galiksi, as they were doing a Jackbox game stream on Twitch when they took a break to play a level of Super Mario World as part of a fan request, then went back to streaming the Jackbox game. After their stream was over, Galiksi looked back at their Super Mario World game playing on their original Super Nintendo and was surprised to see that for some reason on the overworld map, a strange Blue Jay sidekick had appeared out of nowhere and was moving around with Mario. Only problem is, Mario's never been known to have a Blue Jay sidekick, and Galiksi has never seen anything like this in their 30 years of playing the game. Galiksi was aware of the skepticism many would have, sending me as much video evidence as possible to prove this random bird appeared while playing their copy of Super Mario World that nobody has reported happening before. Galiksi later found out from Ember the Flareon on my Discord server there is a way to activate the bird in the game using a Pro Action Replay code, but Galiksi proves with their footage they didn't use a Pro Action Replay, nor did they know anything about the code, nor did they intentionally do anything to make the bird appear since they were busy playing a different game at the time. This brings up the question of whether there's a way to get the bird to appear in the overworld without the Action Replay code, as Galiksi could have found it by accident but isn't sure what they may have done to make the Blue Jay appear. There's also still a huge unsolved mystery no players seem to know. Who the hell is this bird and why does it appear here? Galiksi found when they entered a level and exited back to the overworld, the bird was still there following Mario and could even follow Luigi. Even more strangely, when exploring another part of the overworld map, the character Lakitu appeared out of nowhere and started flying around Mario. This character can also appear on the overworld map with a Pro Action Replay code, but again Galiksi didn't know anything about this and did nothing to make Lakitu intentionally appear. What the purpose of Lakitu's appearance on the overworld map is also unknown. Galiksi filmed their setup to show they were running Super Mario World on an original Super Nintendo and showed the signal being lost from their TV when they unplugged the component cable directly from the Super Nintendo plugged into their component to HDMI converter they were using to run their feed into their video capture card, since the capture card only accepted HDMI, proving the video that we're seeing on the TV is indeed coming from the original Super Nintendo. Galiksi also showed me videos of their console proving it was an original Super Nintendo that wasn't tampered with at all, as well as the cords from the Super Nintendo running into their converter, capture card, and their TV, and even opened up the game cartridge to show it is an original copy of Super Mario World. And while all of this does a convincing job of showing the Blue Jay and Lakitu really did show up out of nowhere, this still doesn't give us any answers about how or why this happened, or how this could be recreated without the Pro Action Replay codes. Galiksi says their Super Nintendo isn't in great condition and sometimes has issues when it's slightly bumped, and wonders if that may have contributed to the glitch happening. Well, if that's the case, maybe time for a smackdown between Galiksi and their console. Goat Simulator 3. Thanks to Preston the Master for submitting this discovery on the Oddheader Reddit. Goat Simulator is the goat simulation series that has you simulate a goat in a janky open world sandbox. Needless to say, the Goat Simulator games don't exactly care to be polished, or make a lick of sense. Yet Preston encountered something that seems to defy explanation even for Goat Simulator. Preston was playing split-screen co-op with a friend when suddenly their frame rate dropped out of nowhere, halting the game to a near standstill, only to watch this thing float across both screens. What the hell is that? Obviously the first thought is an alien UFO, but it also kind of looks like a goat eye, or like it has a hole in it, like a giant flying spaghettio monster. And while there are UFOs in the game, none of them have the same behaviors as we're seeing here, and aren't known to randomly interrupt the game with an appearance in the sky. Though given this game, I'm not ruling it out being a flying spaghettio monster. Destroy All Humans 2. Reprobed. Thanks to Vampire Lover 1919 for submitting this discovery on the Oddheader Reddit. Reprobed is a remake of the original PlayStation 2 and Xbox game where you play as the alien Crypto, which plays a lot like Grand Theft Auto except you're an alien who terrorizes Earth, and constantly hits on the KGB agent Natalia. This Reprobed version adds features not in the original game, like new weapons and Crypto's ability to dash and skate. And apparently, Reprobed also added a strange glitch that wasn't in the classic versions, as Vampire Lover saw something that doesn't look like anything else in the game, when for some reason they were interrupted by what looks like dried flowers floating everywhere. What the hey? This made players confused as to why it looks like someone dumped potpourri all over the game, as at no point in Destroy All Humans 2 does the sky ever start raining flowers. Has Crypto abandoned trying to kill humans with meteor strikes and decided to fight with flower power instead? Not sure what explanation would make the most sense, as it still remains unclear what could have possibly caused the sky to vomit the contents of Walmart's craft aisle. Fear. Fear from 2005 is a game that you can probably deduce from the title alone is a pretty frightening experience, being one of my favorite first-person shooter series about a group of military operatives. The first to encounter Assault Recon, who are sent to investigate a compound where an experimental test subject named Alma uses her supernatural abilities to with the player, which is all the more reason Twig City was freaked out by the strange occurrence they captured when streaming the game on Twitch. Twig City streamed Fear for 3 hours straight when they decided to get up from their stream to have a bathroom and cigarette break. When Twig City came back, they noticed there was issues with their stream connection being unstable, so they ended up closing the stream to restart it again. However, when they reviewed their footage, they noticed something happened when Twig City was nowhere near their computer. Apparently, when they were gone, their aim started erratically moving and pointing in random directions in an extremely unnatural way, almost reminiscent of some sort of aimbot. Strangely, the gun even shoots several times. What the? Although Twig City swears there was nothing modified in their game whatsoever.
I swear to God on everything that I love, this is a real story. I'm not making this up for views or anything.
Whatever was happening though, their reticule was moving around in a way that would be impossible using natural mouse movement. Playing the game further, Twig City didn't encounter anything like this again, nor did there seem to be anything wrong with any of their hardware. At this point, it's still unclear what happened. If anyone has an explanation, I'd love to hear an answer, because at this point it looks like Twig City captured yet another way Alma figured out how to with the game when nobody was looking. Sky, Children of the Light. Thanks to Savara199 for submitting this discovery on the Oddheader Discord. Sky Children of Light is super chill and peaceful, set in a cloud kingdom where stars have fallen out of their constellations, and players help bring back the light to the world with candles. The MMO has plenty of opportunity to make friends where you travel hand in hand to help each other complete quests, making your way through a world that feels like a Studio Ghibli movie, with realms full of caves, prairies, forests, and snow-covered valleys. There doesn't appear to be any giant cows made of stone though, although what happened to one player suggests otherwise, as the Leaf One on YouTube was sliding to the Vault of Knowledge realm while completing their daily task in Sky, when they said the game inexplicably started jumping randomly to other realms, before finally dropping the Leaf One in the middle of the ocean as whatever the hell this is. Hold up. What? The Leaf One was rather surprised to be sitting there as a rock, because at no point in the game does the player ever stop flying and turn into an inanimate object. Nor is there any obvious explanation as to why the hell this would happen. The Leaf One eventually had to quit and restart the game as it was impossible to keep playing, as again, for some reason they were turned into a cow rock. Seriously, how the hell does this happen? Even if the game just crashed, that would have made more sense than turning into a cow rock. Hittin Switchez. Thanks to Coby Cook for submitting this mystery through Oddheader.com. I've previously mentioned on this channel some games by rappers, such as 50 Cent's game Bulletproof and an Eminem shovelware game that was cancelled when he backed out of the deal. However, few people know Eazy-E, the rapper once part of NWA and famous for hits like Boys in the Hood, also had a game called Hittin Switchez that probably should have been cancelled as well. The PC game came with the 2002 Eazy-E album Impact of a Legend, a collection of his unreleased music put out on the 7th anniversary of his death. Though maybe it's a good thing no one remembers Hittin Switchez, as Coby found when he went to play it, the textures for everything but the road and car were showing up yellow for him, or gray in other playthroughs he found. With help from his friend Hunter Thompson, they found this texture glitch was happening because all the texture files in the game were set to expire 3 months from when they were set back in 2002. Well, that's a surefire way to make your game age like milk, but why? The expiration date for these textures was April 8, 2002, barely 2 weeks after the game released, meaning unless Eazy-E fans played Hittin Switchez as soon as it came out, all they saw was a yellow or gray mess, which probably explains why it didn't go on to be a hit. Coby was able to fix the glitch by setting his computer's date to 2001, and found the game was pretty bad, as you mostly just drove around with absolutely terrible controls, completing boring challenges like collecting objects and picking up bitches. It's still unclear why the developers decided to make an already bad game even worse by making all the textures expire as soon as the game came out. In fact, I think this is the first time I've ever heard of texture files in a game having an expiration date, which probably explains why Coby and Hunter took months trying to figure out what the issue was and get the game running properly. Thankfully, Hunter was able to make a patch for the game which sets the texture's new expiration date to 2106 for anyone who wants to play it. So make sure you get on this fast, because you definitely don't want to miss out on picking up bitches and Hittin Switchez before it's 2106. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, and if you know of any other mysterious glitches in video games, submit through Oddheader.com, come join the Discord, or even send me a shout through Twitter or Reddit. Shout out to Aaron Johnston, Angel the Fox, Ash Photography, Black EV50, Chad Biscuits, Eddie Talkspin the Bleach Primid, Flex, Jailbreak, Isaac Murillo, Kieran Bolton, The Meatly, Phoenix 157, Rackman 22, Ray Zorez, Riley S, Robert Eisen, Select, Subrock, T1 Lemon God, and Terrence Stock for their Patreon support. Stay tuned.